Yo, what's good everyone? Wesley Paul here back once again, and today we are going to be looking at using this Elgato Stream Deck, right way round, in MPC software. And I'm going to show you how I use it to help speed up my workflow. So yeah, let's have a look. So, if you don't know what the Elgato Stream Deck is, it's basically this little device here, and it's got buttons on there, and you can program those buttons to do whatever you want them to do, kind of. So what I'm going to do is quickly run through what I've programmed mine to do. So this isn't a review of this, or it's not even a tutorial. It's just me showing you what I've done with this device, and let you know, with this, you're only restricted by your own imagination. Even I haven't even tested this to its limits. I've just done some basic stuff. But I want to show you in case, you want to consider getting one, and perhaps, you're more imaginative than me and you can come up with some ideas as well. So yeah, let's have a look. So what happens is you have profiles. So at the moment, I'm on my MPC profile. When I open up the software, it automatically switches to that profile. You can have profiles for other applications. If you use other doors, if you use like FL Studio, you might want to have a profile for that. Even if you do other stuff, like you might want to have a profile just for like Microsoft Excel or whatever, like that. But we're looking at MPC today. So I'm on my MPC profile. So my first 15 buttons on here, and I appreciate you can't see the screen. It is pretty cool because when you do the buttons, you can put your own images on them, text and everything like that. So you're fully customizing these buttons. So my first button here takes me back to a different profile. If I want to go, cycle through another profile. The first two buttons here, pretty simple, are copy and paste. So these are just the basic shortcuts. This first whole page is basically just shortcuts. So when I'm on my drums, I like to go between my Q-Link mode. I go between screen and pad scene, so I can just do that now quite easily with buttons. I press these two buttons and I can flip between the two. I've got a time correct button on here on the north. I've got, let's go over to these chords here. If I wanted to bring up my arpeggiator or anything like that, sometimes it messes around, you have to do it like that. But yeah, you can do that. If I want to move my notes up and down an octave, if I'm doing inversions, I've got a button dedicated for that. I can split my notes with that button. I've got another button here that will open up my template. I've got a button here that will duplicate everything. So as you can see, I've got a 4-bar loop here. If I press this button, what it's done is it's duplicated it over, made it 8 bars. I've got another button here that will just not duplicate everything, but it will just duplicate where I've highlighted. And I've got another button here that will select all. So let me just deselect everything. And it just selects everything. Pretty basic stuff so far. Okay, it's just your keyboard shortcuts just put on this device to be one button rather than 2 or more buttons. So then the last button here takes me to another page. Okay, so we'll go through the buttons on this page. Again, the first button takes me to a previous profile. Or this next button here is actually a folder. And this folder is called VST. And the reason why it's called VST is if I press it, it's going to bring up 15 more buttons, and some of them are dedicated to certain VSTs. So if I open up this here, I've got my Korg M1 here. But let's say, for example, I didn't want to use my Korg M1 and I wanted to use Analog Lab. If I press this button, give it a second to load, it automatically opened up Analog Lab. See, I'm not in Korg M1 anymore, I'm in Analog Lab. Yeah. Should we try that again? If I didn't want Analog Lab and I wanted, say, Addictive Keys, let's see if it works. Brings up Addictive Keys. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm still working on this. Although I've done it there and it worked, sometimes it doesn't work properly because this one was a little bit complicated to do. I just wanted to show you it can be done, but even I think I can do it better. Yeah, but you can do that. What else you can do is you can add text. You can use a button to just be dedicated to just text. So just say, for example, so I've named my track, right? I've named it Never Miss. Yeah. What I can do is here, instead of me having to type it all out now, I could just go into my folder here. I can press that button. It brings up Never Miss. I just say, this is my keys. I press that button. Look at that. Never Miss keys. So it's a lot quicker than me having to type things out all the time. The reason why it's good to do it like this as well, on my template, I don't have, I've got it so it's generic names. So I've got like drums, piano, whatever. But when you do it like that, if all of your tracks are named the same, so like whatever project you're working on, if it's always named piano, for example, when you bounce that out, it's going to be piano 1, piano 2, piano 3, and you won't know what piano, like what track is actually related to. So it's good to have the title of the track and then whatever the instrument is, and then when it's bounced out, you know exactly what it's related to. Another thing I got it to do, arranging, a tedious job to do generally. But what I've got mine to do is I can take this 4-bar loop, MIDI loop, and I can bounce it down to audio and then extend it to from 4 bars to 16 bars. So if I press this button here, it bounced it down and it copied it across. So now if we go to track view here, you can see, let me just extend that up to 16 bars so you can see. Okay, and now it took that 4-bar loop and made it 16 bars worth of audio. Now what you could do, really and truly, if you wanted to, I could have got it to have done that, then automatically gone over to the next track and do the same thing on the next track, and then so on and so on and so on. But I don't want to do that because the way this works is you program it, you tell it what to do, and it just does it very quickly. So with that, when it's bouncing down the audio, you don't know how long it's going to take to bounce down the audio. So if it starts doing the commands it's supposed to do after that, before it's bounced it down, it's going to mess everything up. So I like to just personally just do it one by one. So once I know that one's done it properly, then I would go to the next track and just press the button and do it again, if you know what I mean. Okay. Other buttons I've got on here is I've got a save button to save my projects. I've got one to export. If I press that and then it brings up my export window. Or I got another one to do preferences. To bring up preferences, because every time I plug my hardware in and out, it messes up my preferences. And now I can just quickly press one button to go into it. Okay. All right, let's look at one more page that I've got. So I've got a page here that essentially like sort of triggers MIDI, you could say. So if I bring up this now, I'll show you what it does. So this first button here, if I press this button, all right, you know what? Let's play this. Let me solo my drums. All right, if I press this, yeah. So what you can do is use these to control your cue links. You see, I'm moving my cue links here, right? And the good thing with this is it doesn't affect, like, I've also mapped my keyboard to do this, but I think I said in a previous video, sometimes it's better to use a button, sometimes it's better to use a knob when you're doing things like automation. So I don't have a camera to show my MIDI keyboard, but I can control my cue links with my MIDI keyboard, or I can control them with this if I want to. Okay, so again, like I might want to use a button to do some automation on something, and then I might want to use my knob to do it, and I can do that. Okay, and even this, I think I can do even more with this. I haven't really explored this, but I think I can now get this to do certain things that I couldn't do before in terms of triggering MIDI, but I still need to play around with that. I haven't explored this as much as I can. But yeah, these are just some of the basic things you can do. As I said, you're only restricted by your own imagination. If like you could just start thinking of all the possibilities just by using this one device. I will give my honest opinion though. If you don't have hardware, um, and that's what you want, that's what you want to get into. Like obviously, this device is cool and all, but it's not designed for music production. So currently in the UK, this retails at about £150. It does go on offer quite often. I think even at the time of recording this video, it's about £120 on Amazon. But if you think about the full price of £150, that's practically the price of a MPC Studio Mark II, which is designed to work with your software and designed for music production. This is cool, and especially if you want to use it in other applications. So like I said, it doesn't even have to be just for music production. You can use it in whatever you use your computer for. You can use this. Yeah, but it's just up to you to decide, is it really a necessity? For me, after using it for 10 minutes, it sort of became a necessity because I just use it so much for so many different things. So I really like this. I feel like this is going to find its way into more and more studios, because you can just get it to do so many things. I need to be honest with some of the stuff that I showed you today. It's not all simple, straight out of the box. You could just do these things. Like the basic stuff, yeah, the basic hotkeys, those things, simple. Anyone can do that. The stuff that I did where I was opening up other plugins, that's a little bit more intricate. And you have to get other stuff. So it's not just this. You have to go to their marketplace and download other things to help you with that. The stuff when I was triggering the MIDI, again, you have to download other stuff. It's all free. You don't have to pay anything extra, but you have to download extra stuff and work out how to do it. So even me to figure out how to do some of this stuff, it took me a while and it was a bit long. Hopefully it will pay off in the long run because, as I said, I got this. Well, I'm using this to help speed up my workflow. And at the moment, that is what it's doing. However, it just depends how long it takes you to set it up to how you like. Another good thing with this, though, is I was talking about profiles, right? You can have profiles. But what you could even do is I could make a profile to get it to do all the basic standard stuff, and I could just give it to you and you can just download it and just put it in there. So you wouldn't have to manually program it all yourself. You could just download other people's profiles. So that's cool. Imagine like, because I'm not the most techie person with all of this stuff. There might be people out there that can program this better than I can, and they might just come up with a great profile. You just download it and you just take pieces out of it what you want. Ideally, I would love a Kai to make one because they will probably do it better than anyone else. But I don't know. I don't know if that will ever happen. But they could make a profile dedicated to their software, and it's a great way to just enhance the software. Anyway, I'm sure I've missed some stuff I wanted to say, but like I said, this wasn't sort of a review. It's just a quick showing you what it can do. If you want me to show you how I did certain things, obviously I don't mind doing that, but I would only do that if there's a need. I'm sure there will be other videos on this in the future, but I am going to stop here because I've been talking for a while. So yeah, check it out. That's the Elgato Stream Deck. And I'm going to say take care. Peace out.